I think we should get started. We are about 2 minutes in. So if all is good, welcome everyone. I'm glad and excited that you're here and thank you for making time for this. Before we get into the ground rules, what today is about, I'd just like to start by thanking CIMA for their commitment to providing this space for our members and also allowing me the opportunity to teach you all. So this session assumes that these series are assuming that you are coming in with zero experience with artificial intelligence. Maybe you've dabbled into some AI tools, ChatGPT, or maybe you're at, I don't know, I don't get the hype, or maybe you are a little bit further along with using AI. But I just want to emphasize on one thing, that please stay the course. This is the foundation. The first few sessions will be a little bit foundational. So if this feels like, okay, I already know this, I promise you we'll build on it, and each class, each session will build on the next one. So I also wanted to quickly introduce you of who I am and share a little bit about myself, and so you know that why I'm leading this. I'm Kajal. I am part of CIMA's mentorship committee, and professionally, I bring 15 years of experience across marketing, product, technology, and throughout my career, I've helped about Fortune 1,000 companies like Whirlpool, Amazon, Wayfair implement and evolve technology. And then from a marketing standpoint, also help them reach their intended audience. What I do now is I have a consultancy called Habit, and I get to work with companies where I get to help them with product strategy. So all things roadmap, go-to-market, customer journey, and integrate AI into their workflows. So I've seen firsthand how helpful AI has been in product development and in internal operations, and of course, in my day-to-day as well. And oftentimes I hear from people that I don't know how to use it. I'm so scared by it. So I'm here to make AI be accessible to everybody and make sure that we're all leveraging this technology. And you'll learn that it's actually always existed. So that being said, let's get into how these series will work. Again, these are shared workspaces, learning spaces. We'll meet once a month for about an hour. 30 minutes will be for teaching you the topic, giving you frameworks, story, usually a demo as well. And then we'll have about 15 minutes for Q&A. And whenever possible, we'll bring in an industry expert so you can hear about how AI is actually being used in the world and not just being talked about. Again, I want to emphasize that please stay the course. Each session will build on the last. So even if it feels familiar, foundational, I promise you, if you stay the course, it will continue to build. And one thing I also want to emphasize is that my role is to give you frameworks and examples that everyone in this room can apply. And if you think about it, 30 minutes a month, I can't possibly teach you ins and outs of AI or how it may exactly apply to your role, your team, or your company. So if you want to dive deeper into how it connects with you specifically, we can take that offline and work through Habit. So that is what I wanted to kind of get that set in the beginning. And so today we'll really get into the foundation of what AI is beyond the buzzwords, how it works. Then we'll talk about how it shows up in marketing, internally and externally. I'll share the four value pillars of AI. And then I'll do a short demo of Spindrift because I love Spindrift. And we'll talk about how AI is not perfect, how it hallucinates, and why human in the loop really matters, and how you train AI really matters. The last half hour, we'll do 15 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll introduce our guest, which we do have a guest today, Pixability. They'll have the last 15 minutes to share about how their product and services leverages AI and what it does for you. All right. Now, getting into what is artificial intelligence, the burning question, something that we fear, something that we feel intimidated by, but it's here. So this is my definition of AI. It's super simple. AI is technology that learns from data. It mimics human intelligence to analyze, predict, and create. That's it. Not complicated. It's machines doing what humans do, but at speed and scale. So now that we have a clear definition of AI, hopefully a simple definition of AI that you've heard before, let's break it down what AI can actually do for you. So it can recognize your actions, for example, clicks, your behaviors, or your customer questions. It can then reason with them what to do. And over time, it also learns by experience and training. So the more you interact with AI, the more examples that you share, the more data that you share, it gets smarter. It is also has a predictive functionality, which we see all the time. That's our generative AI. It can predict outcomes and behaviors. So if you think about marketing, it can actually tell you the insight of who can churn, who's about to convert, and who will actually buy your product or service. And then we talk about generative AI. That is writing copy, design, images, and even creating videos, which is super cool. So from a marketing perspective, there are two layers of AI. One is internal layer, which helps you speed up at work, like automating reports. We have smart dashboards now, summarizing research, crafting campaigns and briefs, flagging any risks. So it acts like a co-pilot, something that happens behind the scene. And then we have the external version of AI, which helps you improve your brand, your customer experience, personalization. These show up as chatbots, dynamic ads, anything that shapes your customer and brand results, that is layered into external AI. All right, moving right along. So now that we know that AI can do a number of things, it also works in different ways. So it can be trained in different ways. It can give you different results. So let's dig into that, because I think that's really important here. So we have about 3 types of AI, and super intelligence, which I'll talk about briefly. That is, I think, where we are researching right now. So let's talk about narrow AI. These are the specialists. These are systems that are trained to do one task really well, highly reliable, as long as they're trained in a specific way, and as long as they stay in their lane. They don't generalize anything outside of it. How they show up for us is spam filters or email scoring. Then we have generative AI. This is the big one that everyone uses, everyone talks about. These are your Chat GPTs, your Geminis, your Midjourneys. So how this is different from narrow AI is instead of just recognizing data and staying in their own lane, these systems are designed to create words and images and audios. And where marketers see this sort of AI is in their creative work. So when we use it for storytelling or generating any ideas for campaigns, which we will dig into for Spindrift. Then we have agentic AI. This is my sweet spot. This is sort of the service that I provide. And this is where 2025 is where it started to really kick off. These are systems that can talk to other tools. They move across tools, they can follow logic, they can complete a multi-step task with you still in the loop. And that is something that I'm a big believer of. Again, we'll get into later in the slide. And then we talk about super intelligence. This is still in research and up for a big debate. And the whole idea is that super intelligence may possibly surpass human intelligence across all domains. So I don't know where this will show up in the future. AI changes so fast that we just never know. All right. So these are different types of AI, and a quick way to actually remember them is one job AI. Anything that does one job is your narrow AI. It's specialized, it's predictable. Then we have our generative AI. Generative AI can learn from data. It can generate text, images, ideas. So think your ChatGPT, writing a product brief, or a mid-journey, designing your visuals. It's flexible, it's powerful, but it needs context and it needs direction. Then we have our agentic AI. This is more on this can take autonomy as long as it has instructions, as long as it knows who to talk to, how to connect. And that's where we are right now in terms of AI. Agentic AI is really taking off. And then super intelligent AI is right now in the works, being researched. We don't know when it's going to be out yet. So these are 4 types of AI. And I also really, really want to focus on that AI is not magical. I know when we use ChatGPT or any other generative AI tools, it's easy to think that way because the output can feel almost human, right? When we're writing a paragraph, it sounds like us. It can generate a video in minutes. But the truth is that AI doesn't think on its own. It doesn't create ideas out of nowhere. It's literally trained data. It's math, it's data, and it's recognizing pattern. So it works on probability, not imagination, or it doesn't have a brain of its own. It's human brain into machines predicting, and it's 100% probability based. Okay. So I think when we are choosing tools or trying to understand how to implement AI, and I promise you we're not going to get into anything super technical, but I do think it's important for us to know how machines learn, because the way a model is trained will directly impact the output that you get. And once you understand that, you can identify your blind spots. It can make you better at prompting, testing, or even trusting the data. So we have 4 different types of machine learning. So one is supervised learning. And the way it's trained is we label it with examples. In marketing, this could look like tagging a past campaigns with subject lines like high open, low open. Then we have unsupervised learning. These have no labels, and these systems are actually designed to find hidden patterns or cluster. So this means discovering audience segments that you didn't predefine. Maybe a group of customer that only buy during a seasonal sale, or maybe a group of customers that care about sustainability. Then we have reinforced way of training AI. This is trial and error type of thing. So for example, if you have ad platforms on this, they'll place ad, they'll test audiences, they'll track clicks or conversion, and then shift the spend to automatically maximize ROI. So this is learning by doing. So with every action you learn, the AI learns, and it's either rewarded or penalized. And that's how you train in reinforcement machine learning. And finally, we have transfer learning, which is a broad model. And this makes it specific to you. So if you feed your ChatGPT or any LLM that you use, your brand guides, your voice rules, your customer notes, suddenly it's tuned for your campaign and it's not generic internet. The main takeaway is anything about machine learning is that you are always in the driver's seat. Your inputs, your labels, your feedback, your training will structure the way your output, the output that you get, the way you receive information. And that, I promise you, that's the only technical things that we're going to get into. But I do think it's really super important to understand how these models are trained. And fun fact is that we've already been using AI. We just haven't called it AI. We've never had access to it. We've never had interface to it. So I'm sure a lot of you use Netflix or Spotify. So Netflix serves up what to show you next. Same thing with Spotify, and it all shows up in Google email writing. It can predict words for you. Amazon also, which can suggest products, and then Canva, which is something I use, and this is what this presentation is built on. It can create images for you and erase backgrounds in a few seconds. So just realize that AI has always existed, but now us regular people have access to it, and it's more user-friendly. And if you notice, all of these are narrow AI. So they're trained to do something super specific. When it comes to marketers, why should marketers care about AI? What does it mean for them? Because besides the hype, if AI doesn't give you value, it's basically useless. So when it comes to giving value with AI in the world of marketing, if the value isn't delivered, efficiency, in personalization, in insights, customer experience, question why you're using a specific tool. Yes, I do agree. I can someone go on mute. I think someone needs to go on mute. Or is it just my echo? So starting with efficiency, less time on the day-to-day mundane work and more time on strategy. So if it can help you write your draft, your brief, repurpose any content, AI should always make you more productive. Then focusing on personalization. We are way beyond, where emails can automatically recognize your first name. So the way AI should really help in your marketing world should be who is about to buy, what content should we show them, how can we scale the experience, anything that improves personalization for your customer, for your brand experience, that value can be driven by AI. Then we get into insights. Insight is, like I mentioned before, we don't use dashboards. We can concise, lengthy research into digestible content. And AI can help us do that. So from getting you vast data into actionable items, synthesizing information, giving you the core insight, that's another way AI can provide value. And finally, we get into customer experience. The goal here is to improve your business, your brand, make it smarter. Having smarter chatbots, AI-assisted reps that know exactly what your last conversation has been or what you have been looking at on their product or service, on their website experience. So someone's whole career has been dedicated to tech that works for the customer and what customers care about. And that's something that I have fully focused on throughout my career, from a marketing standpoint, from a product development standpoint, and then also finding the right customer. All that said, if these 4 pillars don't give you value, then you should probably revisit your AI strategy. Okay, so because this is an intro class, if I had like 90 minutes or something, I could probably map out those 4 pillars across every stage of marketing funnel. But I do want to kind of do a show and tell of what we can build with AI super quickly. And here this is where we will dive into the Spindrift marketing campaign. So I'm going to be using this prompt, and you'll see what it can do for us in minutes. The LLM that I'll be using will be ChatGPT. I'm slightly biased because I use it daily and it integrates really well with what I do. But next week, we'll dive into LLMs. But what I want to show you here is that if we go into ChatGPT, and I'm cheating right now because I already have this copy pasted. So what I'm saying is that you are a marketing manager at Spindrift. Your job is to launch a new campaign for Spindrift Sparkling Water, targeting Gen Z in Chicago, highlighting 0 sugar and real fruit flavor. And I'm asking it to deliver a campaign brief, a ad copy variation, 2 Instagram concepts, and a TikTok script. So let's see what it does for me. So this is pretty cool. In literally less than like 10 seconds, it gave me my campaign brief, sip and feel real, and the goals, the audience, psychographics, an ad copy, Instagram concept. This is really cool. It actually gave me a hashtag too. That's awesome. And then a TikTok script. So this was my quick demo for today. I promise you that when we work with more LLMs, we'll do more on-screen sessions. We'll try different types of prompts. So this seems pretty magical, but it is not perfect. And here's why. Because AI is predicting patterns. I hope I've nailed this in your head, that AI is predicting patterns. And that's what it does. That's its whole job. Sometimes it nails it. Sometimes it can miss something. And that's why you'll hear people say, oh, it's hallucinating. ChatGPT is hallucinating. And technically, it's not lying to us. It's just predicting based on what it's seen before. Like auto-correcting, most of the time it works, but sometimes it gives you ridiculous content to type in a chat. So training and concept are everything when it comes to connecting, when it comes to AI. So the best thing is to give it as much information as you can, connecting your CRMs, your past campaigns, your real customer data. That's when it starts to really grounding into to your brand, to your role, to what you're actually truly looking for. And of course, always remember that each experience should provide you efficiency, insight, improve your customer experience, and give you better personalization. I'm a big person on human in the loop. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you've probably heard me say a human in the loop 100 times, because AI 100% depends on us, on the data that we give it. It is a true partnership that makes it work really well. So we bring in the strategy, the voice, and then AI helps us scale faster. And I think I went through everything just about 30 minutes. So thank you for sitting with me. I have a couple things I want to share right now. So hopefully this has set some foundation for you if you've never used AI before. Again, the next 7 sessions will build on this, so please stick with it, because you'll eventually learn how to apply it. And if you have learned, even if you've used any type of LLM, AI tools, if you've learned anything new in this session, I would just love to see a thumbs up. If you've learned how LLM works or anything like that, I would love to just see a thumbs up. Obviously, these are voluntary sessions, so there's no homework per se. But if you can, until we meet next time, if you can spot how AI is sneakily showing up in your product, in your service, just be mindful of that. And I'll share this deck with you so you can kind of capture the 4 different types of the narrow AI, generative AI, agentic AI, or super AI, which we will probably won't see for a while. Just keep a note of that if AI is spotting up in any product, services, emails that you're using. And again, human in the loop is very important to me. So whenever you're using ChatGPT, just notice like how much of your input it took to get you your final idea. Maybe it's for brainstorming, maybe it's for drafting a copy. So just be mindful of how much work AI has been doing for you, and then how much you had to come in. So next session we'll meet the LLMs. We'll unpack how these models actually learn, because I'm sure that's a question for everybody. Like, how do we train AI? We'll cover that in our next class. And I will take questions now. And I'm sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat. So if there's a common theme, I will take a look right now.
Hope, if you'd like to go first, I think you're at the top of the list. And then
I don't have a question. I was sending a high five.
Totally okay.
Nice job. Thank you very much.
Lynn, did you have a question? Maybe not. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Thank you so much for putting this together. I guess in the future, additionally, if anybody in this class is working on something and would like to also kind of do a show and tell, I kind of feel like this is where that could possibly take place. So I know a lot of my personal friends are doing things to clean up their inbox, to work on media plans, as you just presented and showed. So if there's anything that either fits the theme or you're proud about, you learned 1 month and come November you want to show it off, I think there's an opportunity for us to all kind of see how we're using it, and maybe that sparks a few additional ideas.
And just on that note, cleaning up your email is a narrow AI because that's the only task that it has to do.
Well, if we're good at this point, knowing this is very much introductory, I'd love to move it on to the last portion of the session that we'll be doing for the next 8 months, but introducing Pixability, who has their own internal AI tool called Pixie, and I'll let them share the rest of it. But I'd love for over the next 8 months just to kind of do half of it being how do we use it, and then half of it being like how are true professionals using this and how is it applying it to the work we all work in the industry. So
Amazing.
Great.
I will stop presenting so Pixability can have the screen.
Great. Thank you both. I'm Jackie Paulino. I'm Chief Product Officer at Pixability. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
Great. So for those who are not familiar, Pixability is a YouTube advertising company. We're focused on all things YouTube. And that is from contextual targeting to channel management, insights, etc. We've been working with Google and YouTube for over a decade and have collected a lot of data, which I'm sure as the course progresses, you'll learn that LLMs and AI is really only as good as the data that it's given and how it's trained. And so we help basically, large brands and their agencies get the most out of YouTube, and we use a lot of AI to do that. So as I said, we just launched a new agentic technology. I'm not going to go too deep into that today, since this is the first class. I'm going to keep it pretty high level about how, as a product leader, I've integrated different automated process and systems into Pixability, and how we have built products and technology using AI. But again, I'll keep it high level based on kind of just the ideas that we talked about today. So I saw a couple people in the chat, say that they've put in different systems. So I'll start with how I integrated different process and systems across organizations and really how I use AI. So very similar to, the themes that we were talking about earlier tonight, but just wanted to kind of touch on how I personally use AI, not in the products that we build, but just in my everyday life, just to give you guys some ideas again. I also, I think, lean first to ChatGPT when I'm talking about an LLM, but certainly you can use Gemini or others, and I know that's next week's lesson of which LLMs to use. But here's some ideas of how I use it and how I've gotten others on my team to use it. So really thinking of ChatGPT as my research assistant, and as Kajal was saying earlier, really as an assistant and kind of like a PhD level intern. So it has a lot of information, but it really needs a lot of feedback. And the more you give it and the more information you give it and that human in the loop piece, the better output you're going to get. So don't just, and never, I'm sure you'll cover this next week, but never just give it a prompt, don't read it and copy the email. That can lead to bad things. So, again, treat it as kind of your very smart intern, but that you would always kind of check their work. I'm always using it to summarize notes in meetings. I think I've gotten pretty close to never having to do any kind of update slides or summary notes where I'm not using an LLM, or different tools, which is very nice and makes me much more productive. Writing emails, client, communication, obviously, just making sure things are polished. It's great for that. And then again, like that PhD intern is very good at gathering ideas. So sometimes I'll, put some ideas, blog posts into and try and get some ideas back. I'm sure you'll also cover privacy and data sharing in the future as well. Obviously be careful of what you put in, never put any, private information, and there's different rules of that, but that seems like a later class. And then I use it as my new search engine. I very rarely now go to Google first, planning a trip or, doing those things where you would naturally go to Google. I turn to ChatGPT first now. Another thing to get the team at Pixability, outside of the product organization, using more AI tools. And I gave this presentation to Pixability maybe 9 months ago. And, again, have been getting the organization to be very comfortable. One thing I realized after at happy hour, talking to some people who, again, are not part of the tech organization, is they felt like it was cheating to be using it. Certainly don't feel that way. And certainly now, it is used widely. It's not cheating. Again, always check its work, but feel confident that these are tools similar to you would never do a math problem without Excel or a calculator. That's going to be kind of the way that people are using AI in the future. And then if you want to be the kind of person that changes that in your organization, here's a couple things that I found useful over the last year or so to get everybody on board, not just, again, like our product and our tech organization. Make sure you're using the right tool for the right task. And again, you'll learn more as these courses go. We're talking about agents and LLMs. There's dozens of these tools, hundreds probably at this point. And some of them are very good at single tasks. Some of them are very good at multiple tasks. So make sure you choose, and you can test, and you can use ChatGPT to pick these tools yourselves as well. So another way that I've found gets people much more comfortable is don't try and get an AI tool to 100% replace the task. People really like to interact in that human in loop aspect. Get the AI to replace 80% of the task, and then let the rest of the team do the 20% that humans are very good at, right? So, AI is good at searching the entire internet and really just replicating what it finds. That's really what it does. It's not creative. It's not insightful. It doesn't have a human aspect. So let humans be humans. And then I also have had, people on different teams, the sales team, the customer success team, share what's working for them and share very specific use cases. So that also has been really helpful. Okay, and then I'm a chief product officer, so we build products and we have technology. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but this is a little bit more technical, but I'll keep it high level just to, again, talk about kind of the ideas behind things. And I think we are solving an interesting problem at Pixability. So we are contextualizing, essentially, every video on YouTube that's monetized, and that's billions of videos. So obviously that's a very difficult problem. Images are difficult to categorize. Videos are even more difficult, and there's a lot of text around there as well. So that's not a problem that humans can solve. It's too big. It would take too many man hours to understand all the complexities and different things. So, and also wanting to serve your ads in a contextually relevant way, also a very difficult problem. And again, that's where we focus, is serving your ad, not to made for kids content if you don't want to be there, or trying to find the right person at the right time when they're not watching something that you wouldn't want your brand aligned with. So how do we do that? This is AI at its kind of highest level. And again, we've been doing this before generative AI was in the news and talking about these kinds of things. We've been using AI for over a decade. And how do you do that? And how do you score billions of videos? Is kind of what Kajal was saying earlier, is you create a training data set. Here are videos that are in this category. And then you go out and you build a model, which a model is just, I'm going to look at these things and I'm going to pick features from these things. And then I'm going to go find other things that look like those things, right? So, like the famous example is like, this is a cat and this is a dog. And you kind of find pretty quickly a model can pick out a cat from a dog. And you do that, billions of times over, right? So again, that's what models are really good at, is being able to scale up this data across billions of different things. So you may also say, like, why don't we just give all this data to ChatGPT? Eventually that may also happen, but at this point, it's actually just too expensive to do that. It would be hundreds of millions of dollars to do it across billions of videos. So maybe, as these models get smaller, they become less expensive. So that's something that maybe in the future. But again, at this point, we're still building our own models at Pixability to do that. So this is what our product Pixie does. Again, I'm not going to jump into a full demo, but essentially, lots of data. We give it lots of data that is unique to Pixability. We train our own models, and then we curate inventory that's specific to every campaign. And obviously, that's a difficult problem as well. We have 1,200 different ways to curate inventory. Again, time intensive. So we built an agent to do that. And maybe we'll talk about that in a future class. But agents, essentially, the difference is they actually take action and do decisioning. That's the key to agents. And then, we hope that that results in better performance on YouTube. And then I just thought I'd end on a kind of a funny one. Again, I said images and video is really difficult. And there's things that humans are good at and things that computers are good at. This is something that my Google Photos gave me the other day. And it asked me same or different person. That's me and me as a baby, which I would guess if I gave this picture to most of you, you wouldn't be able to recognize that this is me as a baby, but Google Photos did. And it asks you same or different because you're actually training the model. So if you have Google Photos and it asks you same or different, you're reinforcing it, and you are the human in the loop, and you're helping Google train its model get different. So again, sort of end on that. And again, this is a little bit more information about Pixie and our agentic, but maybe we'll go into that in a different class. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Jackie, thank you so much. I'm excited for this to continue for the next couple months. I think I saw November 2nd will be the next one. December 6th. I don't know. Hopefully this is on your calendars. I tried to set up a recurring event. If you have any trouble, please reach out to me. Kajal, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you for sitting through the basics and foundations of AI. I know everyone wants to see it work, but I wanted to make sure that everyone has at least a basic foundation as we dig into LLMs, prompting, automations, agentic AI. So I'm excited, and I hope everyone else is too.
Yes, if you're signed up for this, you're automatically registered for the rest. You can, if you drop off, that's fine, but don't feel the need to find the next November event and sign up for that and the next and the next. We'll hopefully just keep you invited and hope everybody shows up. Please go, I can put it in the chat, subscribe to our YouTube. We'll post this recording and the rest of the classes in a couple days. So let me put that. I think I just broke. Nope, we're back. So this is CIMA's YouTube. Go over there, subscribe, and we'll post this in a couple days. And I appreciate everybody joining us. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. And just a quick note, I will share the deck so that can serve as a little cheat sheet for everyone. So it'll build on the foundation for the next class. Bye. Thank you, everyone.